Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about Captain Marvel, which I got a chance to see just like everybody else this weekend, hopefully. If you haven't, please go check it out. I think it's a pretty entertaining film. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I really liked and didn't like about this movie. Look, this movie isn't the best Marvel film of all time. But that's not to say it's not entertaining. You know, not every Marvel film can be the top 10 material. Considering there are 20 Marvel films right now, maybe this being the 21st, it's gonna fall somewhere on the ladder. And for me, it is on the bottom of the barrel. That's not a bad thing, though, because I have enjoyed every Marvel film up to this date. I think Marvel Studios knows what to do. First of all, there is a really nice, touching little tribute to Stan Lee right in the beginning. And yes, he does have his regular Marvel cameo, which now we know from Kevin Feige that he has one more cameo left that he did film before he passed away. So knowing that, it gives us something more to look forward to in Marvel's next film. I will say his cameo in this one, it was nice, but I was hoping for a little bit more. I will say not all the jokes were hits here and there. There were some jokes that did fall a little flat for me, but not that many. A lot of the jokes did hit for me, and I did find the film really fun and funny as it went along. I think the movie became more funnier in the second half of the movie than it did in the first half. I do feel the first half of the movie, specifically the first maybe 20, 30 minutes, was a little slow-ish. Not in a bad way, but when you're trying to puzzle everything that's going on and what these flashbacks that you see scattered throughout the movie and how they build up on them, I think as you start realizing more and more what's going on with her, and as she's remembering her past, the flashbacks become a little bit more engaging to get into. There are a lot of twists and turns in this movie, which I'm not going to spoil, but it did catch me off guard, which was really fun. I don't like it when movies are too predictable. I don't mind it if sometimes I'll give them a little leeway if it's a little bit predictable, but this movie was not. And, a lot of people have been talking about this cat in the movie named Goose. That's right, the cat's name is Goose. That's no mistake there. There's no gender, or animal swapping or whatever, but the cat does steal the show. I'm going to say that. Something I was a little bit disappointed with, not really disappointed, but just kind of a letdown because I was hoping for more from these characters, was Agent Coulson and Ronan. Agent Coulson, for those of you that might not remember, was the agent back in the earlier films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he was killed by Loki in the first Avengers movie. And then you got Ronan, who was the villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. They are not as used as much as I thought they were going to. I thought they would have played a little bit. Coulson maybe is okay. He did have a couple of scenes scattered throughout the film. But Ronan specifically, it's a very minor role. So if you're someone that's looking forward to seeing the character Ronan return, don't get your expectations too high on that. Look, I think the relationship between Captain Marvel and Samuel Jackson is really well done in this movie. That was some of the stuff that I really enjoyed, was the buddy cop aspect between both Nick Fury and Captain Marvel. I did like learning more, as we learn more about her past, we learn more about people that she was connected to, and we do get into these characters towards maybe the second half of the film, where we see a relationship forming that was already formed, but we get to experience that. And I kind of wish we got more of that relationship between Captain Marvel and her friend. You'll know who I'm talking about once you see the movie. and the daughter that the friend had too. There was a nice little interesting relationship because they were kind of not sisters, but they were close enough that I guess they could have considered themselves sisters. They were really close friends, who obviously when something tragic happened in Captain Marvel's past, things changed. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say, look, I think this movie isn't perfect, but I don't understand. I still don't get the hate that this movie was getting from trolls, and that's what they are. They're trolls because they were hating on a movie before it even came out because of some things that Brie Larson said that really were not a big issue, but people wanted to make it a bigger issue and twist her words around that they, whatever. But I think judging this film on its own merits, which I think everybody should, don't judge it on what you're angry about what an actress said. You should judge the movie for what this is, a fun MCU film. Unless you really do not like the movie and the movie wasn't your cup of tea, then fine, that's your choice. But I think this was, if you're a fan of these Marvel films, you'll want to see this movie and see how it ties into the grander scheme of things. And this movie definitely ties into the larger cinematic universe, but in some subtle ways, I'll say. And some weren't subtle. They wanted you to know, hey, you know how that came to be? Well, here's a hint on that. They give a little bit of that, but they give a little subtle stuff as well. So I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10. I had a good time with it. And look, if you're not a fan of the MCU, maybe this one's not going to win you over. If you're looking for something a little bit different, because this movie did feel like it was trying to do some different things, which I really enjoyed. I should also touch on Ben Mendelsohn. I really liked him in the role. It was a little different from him, I'll say. Usually, I feel he gets a little bit typecast a lot in a lot of his movies as the main villain. And look, all I'll say is this is a nice little change of pace for him. Not too much, but a little bit. And you'll understand why once you see the movie. And you can totally tell he's having a lot of fun with it. So, with that being said, I hope you guys go see the movie. I recommend it. And definitely stay for the end credit scenes. They're worth... you know what? I'm not going to say that because I was actually kind of underwhelmed a little bit with the first end credit scene because I heard somebody else talking about it and they were hyping it up like crazy that once I saw it, I was like, oh, really? That's it? Well, it was cool. It was cool. I'm not going to make it sound underwhelming now, but who knows? Maybe now that I'm making it sound like that, maybe it will be much better for you when you see the movie because it will get you hyped up for Endgame, which we're all looking forward to, I hope. And then the last one is a little cute one. You don't have to, but it's cute. I think it's worth it. So, with that being said, until next time, take care.